If the answer to even one of these is no, then do not pursue this kind of marriage. A hearty welcome to the 12 tribes scattered abroad and to those grafted in. This is the Israelite in America, and I'm back. You guys. I've been working on some heat for you and some deep stuff, and this is part of it, I would say, because this is something that a lot of Israelites are facing, a lot of Gentiles are facing. Well, I would say more Israelites, even though it concerns them both. But we are going to get into it. All right. What I'm talking about is something that intrigues a lot of people and will also upset a decent amount of people too. And what that is, if my presentation slide will move, there we go. Israelites and interracial so-called marriage. If this is a topic that interests you or that you would like to learn about even more, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and be prepared to share your thoughts below. I know this is going to be a hot topic. If YouTube doesn't suppress this video, I'm going to have all types of people up in my comments. Oh my goodness. Keep it all coming. You stay respectful. We stay respectful. It's all good. Now, I got to get something out the way immediately. Well, immediately. First, support my work. You guys, hashtag $ Israelite in America. It's the Cash App. You guys, you can help me out a little bit, some Israelites and Gentiles, grafted in Gentiles. Hey, you guys, some of the stuff I'm saying, I don't think any other channel is saying, not like how I'm saying it. And you guys are about to see. All right. Now, first things first, nothing in this presentation should be taken as the Israelite in America, that's me, telling you what you should do with your life and or relationship. Okay. Very important. That is something that you need to take before the Almighty in earnest prayer. The purpose of this video is to present certain truths in regards to the subject of so-called interracial marriage when it comes to Israelites and Gentiles. Okay? Very important. Don't, you guys, go back to the scripture and double check what I'm saying, right? And if you're in a situation that we might get into here, take your situation before Yahuwah yourselves. Maybe I could be the catalyst to lean you one way or another. Maybe you've already been praying. If that's the case, great. But I'm not telling you what to do or what not to do here. This is, guys, you've got to be mature in your spiritual walk. All right. Oh, and I do want to clarify also one more thing before we start. I say so-called interracial because I use terms that we're familiar with in the modern day. But keep in mind, interracial marriage is not a biblical concept, okay? The word interracial marriage, the phrase interracial marriage, the Bible did not categorize people by race. That is a modern European concept. The Bible categorized people by their tribes, okay? So the Hamites, and the Ham begat Canaan, and so the Canaanites. Okay, those are Canaanites because they come from Canaan, and Mitzrayim. He was the father of Egypt, so those are the Mitzrayim, right? That's how the Bible categorized people. The Bible did not categorize people by race. So very important to understand that. But for the purposes of our understanding, I'll be using the modern phrase. So here we go. All right. Firstly, marriage prohibitions defined, because that's something very important that we need to define, because there are some marriage prohibitions in Scripture. Deuteronomy chapter 7. And, well, hold on. Let me read it first, and then I need to say something. Verses 1 through 3, because we're starting at the first verse. When Yahuwah thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and hath cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou, okay? Thou shalt smite them, and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with who? Them. Nor show mercy unto who? Them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with who? Them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. Listen, anyone who tries to tell you, whether Israelite or Gentile, doesn't matter. Anyone who tries to use Deuteronomy 7 as the means to, well, this is why, this is where the Bible forbids interracial marriage. Run them, okay? They have no idea what they're talking about, especially when they want to start at verse 3, I think it is, and skip the prior verses. Everyone wants to skip the prior verses. Nobody wants to say, give you the qualifier here. When Yahuwah shall bring you into the land, and when you dispossess these 7 nations that I'm specifically naming, do not make a covenant with these people. Do not marry these people. Highly important context. Anyone that tries to just use verse 3 and leave out the rest, okay, know that they are trying to deceive you, because they're purposefully leaving out verse 1 and 2. All right, moving on. Deuteronomy chapter 21, verses 10 through 3. And the periods here, the dots, are just where I've somewhat shortened some of the scripture, but you can go and look up the full scripture here for yourself. I just have taken out a few of the extra words to save time. But all these scriptures are right here for you to go and read, so I'm not trying to deceive you or anything. Deuteronomy chapter 21, verses 10 through 13. When thou goest forth to war against thine enemies, and thou hast taken them captive, and seest among the captives a beautiful woman, and hast a desire unto her, that thou wouldest have her to thy wife, then thou shalt bring her home to thine house, and she shall shave her head and pare her nails, and she shall put the raiment of her captivity from off her, and shall remain in thine house. And it goes on for the prescription of how this woman is allowed to mourn, and then she becomes your wife, and you can't make merchandise of her if you don't like her, you guys have a disagreement and whatnot. You can't treat her badly or any of that stuff. But this is a non-Israelite woman that Deuteronomy 21 is talking about. So again, anybody that tries to tell you, well, it's strictly forbidden through all Torah, they have no idea what they're talking about. 1. Or 2, they are actively trying to deceive you because they have their own biases. Here we don't do biases. We do what the script. We present what the scripture says in its totality, whether that is fits whatever quote unquote agenda we might have or not. So keep that in mind. Now, I'm not. That's all I'm going to say on marriage prohibitions. I have a complete video that I did specifically on scripture where it talks about the prohibitions in greater detail. Right. Nowhere in Torah is marrying a non-Israelite blanketly forbidden. Keep this in mind, all right? Listen carefully to what I'm saying. Rather, there are certain specific peoples that Israel is forbidden to marry or otherwise intermingle with. Yes, it is specific peoples, and it will tell you who they are repeatedly. In the cases where marrying strangers is prohibited, okay, because they do exist, it is in the bounds of specific cases, such as what? Such as with priests, or Israelite women under similar conditions to the daughters of Zelophehad. See Numbers 27, verses 1 through 11. Okay? With these restrictions observed, an Israelite is scripturally free to marry whoever they so choose. Okay? That goes for male Israelites and female Israelites. Okay? If somebody tells you that scripture blanketly says no, that the Israelite cannot marry a non-bloodline Israelite, it's completely, totally forbidden, they have not read the scriptures, right? They've not read them properly, they've not read them fully, or, as I said, they are trying to deceive you. Now, as I said, here's the thumbnail for the video that I did more in depth on going over some of the scriptures that specifically talk about mixed marriages, right? Look for this thumbnail, and I'll put a card in this video right now so you can click it. And if I remember, I will link the video below this one in the comments or something, okay? So go check this video out if you want more scripture, more of the scriptures on this. Right now, we're moving on to a different section. We're dealing with the spiritual aspect of it and the physical, okay? Real-world applications. Understanding the realities of interracial dating and marriage from an Israelite perspective. Now, I know there are some grafted in wild branch Gentiles that watch my channel, right? I'm happy to have all of you guys. I just want you to know that. You grafted in Gentiles, this is a safe space, for want of a better, term. You know what I mean. This is a safe space. We deal with scripture here, right? But there are some things that you guys need to understand, right? You non-bloodline Israelites that are becoming part of the nation, there are some things you need to understand as it relates to how Israelites live in the day-to-day and what we face in the day-to-day. These are some important things you need to understand. And also, you Israelites, I know some of you guys, most all of you guys should know this stuff, but also there's some unique perspectives here and information that you also need to glean and consider. All right, here we go. An interracial relationship is not for the spiritually or mentally immature Israelite. I've seen this way too often, okay? I see this online. I see this in real life. A spiritually immature or mentally immature, both Israelite, should not pursue this kind of relationship, okay? I'm just telling you. Whoa, excuse me. The prospective non-Israelite partner, right? Non-bloodline Israelite partner must accept, understand, and respect your identity as an Israelite, okay? This goes for male or female. Pardon me. The interracial marriage of the Israelite woman is different than that of the interracial marriage of the Israelite man, and we will address that before long. Don't worry. Forgive me. It's kind of chilly here, and there was rain today, so I'm having some sinus issues. So you'll have to bear with me. Know what you're getting into, not for the ungrounded. This from the BBC, and I will have links to all these articles. Anything I post here, I will have links to it in the description below or as a pinned comment below, so you can refer to all these articles. Shameful rise in racism against black people, says EU survey. Racism towards people of African descent remains relentless and pervasive, the European Union Agency for Fundamental Rights, FRA, has said. A survey of black people living in 13 EU countries found many are subjected to discrimination and violence that continues to haunt their daily lives. In Germany, the number of people who felt discriminated against has almost doubled since the last survey in 2018. The findings should be a wake-up call, the EU agency said. From difficulties securing employment and housing to experiencing harassment that leaves victims feeling deeply traumatized, the FRA has found that many black people in the EU routinely face bias and discrimination just because of the color of their skin. The report surveyed more than 6,700 first and second generation black citizens living in Austria, Belgium, Denmark, France, Finland, Germany, Ireland, Italy, Luxembourg, Portugal, Poland, Sweden, and Spain. Comparing this year's survey results to those conducted 5 years ago, the report highlights the alarming lack of progress made towards addressing racism. They don't want to make progress towards addressing racism, okay? They just want to make a show that they are making progress at addressing racism. Racism is not going to end towards us, okay? It is not going to. As long as these people are in positions of power, it will continue. And all of you, I know the expat community, there's a lot of expats, black expats, that are considering going to, places like Albania and whatnot because of the you can stay for a long period without a visa. You guys need to consider this when you're talking about going to Europe. Okay? Just because some of these videos say, oh, Europe is so great, and, the healthcare is this, and the people are so nice. These people do not like you. They don't like you in Europe. They don't like you here. Okay? Understand that. Not all, okay? Obviously, I have to add that caveat. Same way I do with Israelites, okay? Not all Gentiles feel this way, obviously, but a good number do, all right? China. Combat anti-black racism on social media. Authorities, platforms should urgently address online hate, okay? The Chinese government should acknowledge and condemn anti-black racism prevalent on the Chinese internet and adopt measures to promote tolerance and fight prejudice, Human Rights Watch said today. Chinese social media platforms, which are quick to delete content critical of the Chinese government, should remove racist content that violates their community standards on hate speech or might incite racial discrimination or violence. So you criticize their government, they're like, oh, no, and they delete that stuff really quick. But you criticize the people saying racist stuff against black people, and it's like, well, interesting. Racist content, to any of my Asian followers, I'm not picking on you guys specifically. Go watch my other videos. I do accents for everyone. So if that offends you, I'm sorry, but too bad. Racist content on the Chinese internet directed at black people inside and outside of China has become common in recent years, often created by netizens for the purpose of attracting traffic and generating profit. Isn't that interesting? So in other words, these people are purposefully being racist because they know racism sells, right? Isn't that so interesting that they're like, oh, this is what makes money. The more racist I am against black people, the more hateful I am towards black people, the more money I'll make. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? But, we're just imagining all this stuff. That's what the conservatives over here will tell us. Excuse me. Where did my mouse go? Oh, Human Rights Watch's analysts. Human Rights Watch's kind of funny way of saying it. Analysts. Excuse me. Analysis. Good grief. Of hundreds of videos and posts since late 2021 found the major Chinese social media platforms, including Bilibili, Douyin, Kaishu, Weibo, and Zhongshu. I'm sure I butchered those names. Do not routinely address racist content despite the responsibility to respect human rights under the United Nations Guiding Principles on Business and Human Rights. Okay? Another common type of racist content reviewed another common type of racist content reviewed denigrates excuse me. Guys, you got to forgive me. Let's try that again. Another common type of racist content reviewed denigrates interracial relationships. Oh, that's what we're talking about. Black people married to Chinese people are accused of contaminating, quote unquote, and threatening the Chinese race. Perceived relationships between black men and Chinese women are particularly vilified. Who does the seed come through? Who are you, who's your lineage counted by? Some Chinese women who post photos with their black male partners on Chinese social media have become targets of online harassment, including death threats, threats of rape, and doxing, publishing personally identifiable information without the individual's consent. Human Rights Watch also found many accounts that impersonate black people. Spreading false and hostile information. You best believe the same thing's going on over here. You best believe this, right? Many accounts that impersonate black people, spreading false and hostile information. You better believe that's going on right here. Okay? You better believe that that a surprising number of people in the Israelite community, right, got white faces behind them or Indian faces behind them, right? You best believe that. I can't say too much because I don't want them to come for me, but you best believe this is happening over here too. Black men coveting Chinese women is a common theme, right? So they got it like the black men are just sweating with their tongues out after Chinese women, and it's like, oh, see, this is how they want to come and get you, our good Chinese women. These black, these I gotta be careful what I say. These black degenerates, they want to come and get you. So we've gone to China, right? We've been in the EU. Where are we going next? Brazil. Excuse me, guys. Brazil's racial reckoning. Black Lives Matter here too. Okay. This is all over, people. We're painting a picture, as I always like to do. Paint a picture. Know what you're getting into. A week before the unaliving of George Floyd in the U.S. city of Minneapolis in May, Brazilians were mourning one of their own. 14-year-old, I'm not going to pronounce that right, I'll just say Pedro Pinto, was killed while playing with friends during a botched police operation in a favela in Rio de Janeiro. The two deaths happened thousands of kilometers apart, yet millions of people were united in grief and anger. Black Lives Matter here too, Brazilians chanted in the weeks following the deaths. But history keeps repeating itself. It keeps repeating itself, and it will continue to repeat itself until Yahuwah gets us out of here, and those curses revert. And they will. Only last week, a police officer in Sao Paulo stepped on the neck of a black woman in her 50s. Why? The video that surfaced showing the incident caused outrage. She survived, but so many do not. Yeah, an outrage. And what were they going to do? I mean, sure, it caused outrage. What did they do at the end of the day? What can you do? Brazil has a long legacy of racism. It was the last country in the Americas to abolish slavery in 1888. More than 4 million people were brought over from Africa, more than to any other country in the world, and that has left deep scars. Some of us don't understand how racist Brazil is, because some of the people in Brazil are brown. We don't understand. I think a lot of us fail to really grasp how racist it is over there. Brazil doesn't even have dark-skinned people on their TV stations. It's bad over there. And there's, in a lot of ways, there's less oversight over there than there is even here. And we know how the oversight here in America is. The Brazilian state didn't create any kind of public policy to integrate black people in society, says author and activist. I can't pronounce that first name, so I'll just say Ribeiro. Although we didn't have a legal apartheid like the US or South Africa, society is very segregated, institutionally and structurally, okay? For a long time, though, racism was not really talked about here. Brazilians were taught to believe that they lived in a racial democracy, where everybody got along without being discriminated against because of their color. But, say activists, it is a myth. Yes, it is a myth. It was like it's more like don't mess with that festering wound. It's fine. Just wrap it with a Band-Aid and it'll be fine. Yo, but it's festering and I feel it itching and getting. No, it's fine. Just change your Band-Aid, put another Band-Aid over it. It'll be all right. No, yo, it's starting to. It stinks now. This wound is pretty bad. No, don't worry about it. That's what they're saying here. All right, now we go over to the good US of A. Teen charged after vandalizing schools, and you see what the teen looks like. Side note, a lot of the people that do this, that commit these kind of incidents, these kind of crimes, a lot of them have a certain look about them. If you start looking at a lot of these stories, you see a lot of these people have a certain look about them that go and do these things. Just it's an interesting thing I've noticed. Police say two Missouri schools were vandalized this month. The first attack occurred on March 7th at Afton High School when officials discovered, that sign that the Germans used during World War II, and other offensive messages had been spray painted on an outside wall, according to Fox 2 News. On March 12th, officers were called to Rogers Middle School, where racial slurs, including a threat to unalive black people, that symbol that the Germans like, the words white power and the numbers 88, which means hail you-know-who, were all painted on the building, according to KSDK. Eventually, 18-year-old Patrick Sloan was arrested and charged with the crimes after his mother recognized him from wanted posters and turned him in. Hey, good for the mama. Mama's like, oh my goodness, you're a criminal. I got to call the police. Good for her. Okay. Trump says Smithsonian focuses too much on how bad slavery was. Interesting. So we see that this stuff is it's not just on a ground level. The picture I'm painting is that this hate is on a federal level in pretty much in every society that it exists. Every society where the hatred towards us exists, it exists not only on the ground level, on the street level, the person on the street, but it exists at the governmental level, okay? And it's important we understand that. Hence those stories we just went over, where not only, like with the Chinese situation online, not only was it Chinese people, the average Chinese citizen putting this stuff online, but the controlling bodies of China weren't moderating the content, weren't stopping the content, okay? That's what I mean. Trump says Smithsonian focuses too much on how bad slavery was, and this is very recent that he said this. The remark, made as the president has ordered a wide-ranging review of museum exhibits, added to his pattern of minimizing black history. And this is something that will fit into another video that I'm going to do hopefully soon about this entire situation, because we are going to get out of here soon. We've got to. There's no other way. We got to get out of here soon, because they know it, and they're preparing for it, let's just say. President Trump accused the Smithsonian Institution on Tuesday of focusing too much on how bad slavery was and not enough on the brightness of America, as his administration conducts a wide-ranging review of the content in its museum exhibits. So when are they going to do one about the Holocaust? When are they going to go into a Holocaust museum and be like, you know what? This focus is too much on how bad the Holocaust was. This focus is too much on that. You know, we need to focus on how brave the American soldiers were for storming the beaches of Normandy. We need to focus on how brave the American soldiers were for going over there and, becoming part of the Allied forces and all that. When are they going to do that, I wonder? Just a question. The Smithsonian is out of control. Where? The Smithsonian is out of control.
when everything discussed is how horrible that country is, how bad slavery was, and how unaccomplished the downtrodden have been. Nothing about success, nothing about brightness, nothing about the future,
Mr. Trump said in a social media post. This country cannot be woke because woke is broke. We have the hottest country in the world, and we want people to talk about it, including in our museums. Again, woke means black people. That's what they've put. Woke is bad, and it only means black people. Mr. Trump made the comments a week after the White House told the Smithsonian that its museums would be required to adjust any content that the administration finds problematic in tone, historical framing, and alignment with American ideals. What are American ideals? Within 120 days. Okay, so he's like, hey, you guys better take care of this within 120 days or else. Taken together, the administration's examination and Mr. Trump's post on Tuesday were the latest example of Mr. Trump trying to impose his will on a cultural institution and minimize the experiences and history of black people in the United States. And if you don't think that the majority of, let's just say, white America, because that's his largest base, if you don't think that the majority of white America is behind this, you make a sad mistake. They are absolutely behind this, okay? I know people personally that are behind this, okay? Understand. So why do I say all this? Hard truths. The Israelite man and woman are despised the world over. This is a part of the curses that were prophesied to mark us. Understand, it's not just by accident. It's not just that, because we're so ugly or we're so stupid or we're so violent, okay? No. This is incredibly important for one to consider when it comes to considering a love interest of another ethnic group. This is obviously not to say that every single Gentile holds this hate, but many do. And again, to my believing Gentiles that are listening, you guys have got to understand this, okay? This is not me putting hate on you. This is not other Israelites that are my audience anyway. I'm not talking about the Edomite Israelites. I'm talking about my audience. This is not us putting hate on you, but this is something that you've got to understand. And this is something that we are dealing with in the modern world, right? So to speak, so-called, that they weren't dealing with, ancient Israelites weren't dealing with. This racism and such was not a thing back in ancient Israel and all those times, ancient Egypt. It was not a thing. It is a modern European invention. So we are dealing with things and certain obstacles and whatnot that weren't even existing back when the Torah was given and thereafter, okay? So you guys have got to understand this. And you Israelites too. You need to, because some of you guys be funny. Some of you guys be on some funny business. You guys need to understand this too. Understand that the world does not like you, okay? Not every single person in the world, okay? I got to keep saying that. Not every single non-Israelite, okay? But by and large, the world does not like you. Gentiles potentially looking to be involved romantically with an Israelite must be aware of this reality, okay? And still more, they must be absolutely ready and willing to stand against their own ethnic group and whatever respect or privileges come with that for the Israelite in question. This is on a deeper level than a non-interracial marriage because in a traditional marriage, so-called, the worldwide hate for your spouse and their entire people is not present, okay? It's hard enough being in a quote-unquote traditional marriage, right? A non-mixed marriage, if you will. There are challenges enough that come with that. Now, couple those challenges that are gonna come anyways, with the two of you, with one of you being from a group of people, a nation of people, that every other group hates, okay? Are you going to be able to stand Gentiles, grafted in Gentiles? Are you going to be able to stand with that Israelite when that hate comes, when your people turn on you for being with an Israelite? You've got to consider this. Israelites, is this something that you want to deal with, that you want to stand with? Are you going to deal with the hate that's going to come from that Gentile side, right? It might not. You might look out and find a family, one of those rare families that actually completely are not racist, right? I mean, they're few and far between, especially in the Western world, in our Western society, sad to say, but they exist. But you don't know. These are things to consider. Understand, you guys. I'm not hating. But this is a hard truth. These are hard truths. Moving on. Oh, also, I'll know if YouTube doesn't suppress this, I'll know who actually watched this video all the way through and who just kind of skimmed it and then wants to come down and comment and tell me that I'm saying this or I'm saying that. I'll know who didn't actually watch the entire presentation all the way through, because chances are I will address or already have addressed what people are going to say who don't actually watch this presentation all the way through. So, just for that. Gentiles who are even considering this kind of a relationship should already be vocally against the racism of their peers. No exceptions. And yeah, I got to put that there because especially right now, with how serious things are, this is kind of a no exception thing. If you aren't already, able to be against the racism of your peers, you're not going to be able to stand against the racism when it comes for your spouse, when it comes for your children, right? Because you're not suddenly just gonna, after a lifetime of not standing up to it or being taking part in it, are you just suddenly gonna, okay, I'm completely against it, I stand against it? That's not how that works, all right? Guys, if you're still watching, subscribe, hit that subscribe button. And if you feel led to donate, please donate on the Cash App. I've linked the Cash App below. I don't think you're hearing this kind of talk on any other Israelite channel. I don't think you're hearing it. I could be wrong. Show me if you're hearing it on a different channel. But your support would greatly help. Hard questions for the Gentile. All right, are you guys listening? Are you guys listening, Gentiles? You guys that are watching my channel, are you guys listening? This is important. Listen up. Hard questions. Are you prepared to join yourself to a people and nation from which you were not born? Okay, this is because this is what you are doing when you want to. Of course, this is what you do when you become a part of the nation anyway. But it's on an even deeper level when you marry a bloodline Israelite. Okay. Are you prepared to be isolated from or even totally cut off from your own people? Listen, this happens every day. This happens all the time. We hear about it happening in other parts of the world, where like in the Muslim world or in the Hindu world, depending on what caste you're part of, and if your family doesn't like you marrying into some other caste, they disown you, and we're like, oh man, that's terrible. It happens over here in the West all the time, in Europe and America. Are you ready for that? Are you as a Chinese person? Are you as a white person? Are you as an Indian person, right, who's interested in an Israelite? Are you prepared to be isolated or even cut off from your own people, your family? Are you prepared for your own family to turn on you? This is a very real thing. I have seen it happen, okay? Are you prepared to raise your children in this truth and everything that comes along with it? What do I mean by everything that comes along with it? Are you willing to look your children in the eye, right, and say, son, daughter, I love you, but not everyone that looks like me, right? The people that I came from, a lot of them will hate you simply because you are you. Are you able to look at your child and tell them this and be able to explain, right? Are you able to educate them and help them understand that, look, yes, mommy is white or daddy is Korean, okay? A lot of Koreans won't like you because you are part Israelite, right? A lot of white people won't like you because you are Israelite or part Israelite. I only say that because I don't know if it depends on if you're the man or the woman, okay? Different in the relationship because the seed comes through the man. But are you prepared to do that? If the answer to even one of these is no, then do not pursue this kind of marriage. See these questions again? Screenshot these questions. And then, if the answer to even one of these is no, then do not pursue this kind of marriage. I ain't telling you what to do, okay? I am not telling you what to do, but I'm just saying. Hard questions for the Israelite. You guys thought I was going to let you slide. Hard questions for the Israelite. Listen up. Are you strong enough in your faith and identity to resist compromise? Are you? Are you? Because I see a lot of weak Israelites talking about they in the truth, in the faith, and then they get with somebody they get with someone else. They get with someone that's of a different belief system, of a different skin tone, and they be falling head over heels. And next thing you know, they're making excuses. Well, he'll come around. No, he won't. Well, I'm explaining to her. Are you? Why are you explaining right now? And why are you pursuing romantically if you're still explaining? You shouldn't be doing that. Well, they'll get it. They'll come around. Will they? Don't do this. Are you prepared to withstand friendly fire? Listen, a lot of Israelites be on some stuff, man. A lot of Israelites, excuse me. Well, I shouldn't say a lot. That's not true. It's the vocal minority, because if you go around, on the day to day in the street, right? If you're off the internet, a lot of us are very welcoming. We've always been that way, regardless. But you will, especially with racial tensions as they are right now, you will encounter friendly fire from your own people. It doesn't matter if that woman is joined to you at the hip and is down for the cause at the hip as much as she can be. You will still face friendly fire from Israelites being like, you married a Korean girl. Oh, you married a white girl, man. Esau, you traitor. Okay? You will always encounter that. Or I might come from, some Israelite women will do that. Like, you couldn't find a strong black woman. Okay? Are you prepared to face that? These are hard questions you've got to ask. You've got to ask yourself, and you got to be honest, because this is going to be for the long haul. Are you prepared to face isolation? Okay. I mean, it kind of fits into what I just said. Depending on what area you're in, you may be more isolated than others. Are you prepared for this? Are you prepared to raise your children to be proud of and bold in their Israelite identity? Okay? Men, you Israelite men, are you prepared to do this? Are you prepared to raise your sons and your daughters? Because it's your lineage, okay? Are you prepared to tell them, hey, understand that not all of mama's people like you. Not all of mama's people are going to like you. In fact, a lot of them will not like you because of who you are, okay? Don't let it get to you. Be proud of who you are. You Israelite women, are you going to be able to do the same thing? Is the person you're considering, you Israelite women, is the person you're considering, the man you're considering in this case, you Israelite women, is the man you're considering somebody that you can say without a shadow of a doubt would be totally on board with you talking like this to your children, right? This is important, heavy stuff. If you are an Israelite woman, right? I'm speaking to the women now. Are you prepared for your name to now be called under that of your husband's bloodline? Okay? Bloodline. Not just his name. You're not just taking his name. All right? Well, we're about to get into that in a second, and I'll explain a little bit more. But are you prepared for this, Israelite women? It's not forbidden. It is not forbidden, right? Excuse me. But are you prepared? You've got to ask yourself this question. I see, excuse me. I saw something the other day, a little video, I think it was on TikTok or YouTube Shorts. I don't remember what it was, which platform. But it was some black lady that had got with a Caucasian man. And she was like, oh, I thought he was great. I thought he was this and that. And then, turns out the man was no good, and he hated who she was, if you know what I'm saying. And he hated her because of who she was. And he was, how do I put it? He was like, on her, okay? He would her repeatedly until finally she left. And she was like, the gist of her post was kind of like she was blindsided by it and blah, blah, blah. Okay, you, listen. Some of you guys are going to get upset. I can already hear. Some of you guys are going to get upset. Very, very rarely. And if you dealt with Yahuwah properly, it would never happen. But very, very rarely do you get blindsided by a man or a woman, but let's just say man in this case, that is gonna you, right? That's gonna you regularly. Do you just get blindsided? The signs will be there. The signs will always be there. If a man is that violent, right? A man is that prone to such things, the signs will be there whether you admit it or not. The problem is a lot of people want to be like they want to jump into something too fast, or they want to be like the the men want to be like, oh Lord, if she's the one for me, like, the men go and stand in the middle of a forest, right? The men go and stand in the middle of a forest in autumn, right? And they be like, oh Lord, if she's the one for me, then please let 10 leaves fall right now, Lord, right now. That's what the men do. The women be like, okay, give me your number. Okay, my number is 839, blah 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 blah. Oh, 839, and then they go and talk to their girlfriends. Girl, his number started with 839, his phone number. And on my way to this place, I ordered a number 8 from Wendy's, right? And it was 3 miles. The place was 3 miles from the Wendy's, right? And girls just falling in line, girl. That's more what the women do. And you guys don't step back. You don't actually listen to Yahuwah. You say, oh, Yahuwah, show me if this person is right for me. Show me, Yahuwah, please. And then you guys don't actually take a step back and wait and pray specifically, right? Ye ask, but ye receive not because ye ask amiss. You guys will get interested in someone, and I'm talking about everyone. I'm not just talking about Israelites. I'm talking about Israelites, Gentile, everyone. You guys will get interested into someone, and then you be asking Yahuwah for an answer, right, to show you. But then you don't want to take a step back and actually be like, okay, look, I'm not pursuing this any further. I'm not going on a date with you. I'm not going out with you. I'm not hanging out with you. I'm not even really going to talk to you on the phone, right? I'm not even going to build connection, because all that builds connection, until I get a confirmation from Yahuwah. Until Yahuwah tells me yay or nay. And if that takes fasting and prayer, right, I'm going to do that. And if he doesn't answer me today, I'm still going to wait and pray. And if he doesn't answer me tomorrow, I'm still going to wait and pray. And I'm going to show him that I have the faith and put my works into that faith. I'm going to show him that I do have that faith to wait for him to answer me. You guys don't believe, some of you, not all, some of you, but a lot of you don't believe that he actually answers like that regularly and clearly. But you got to put in that faith, man. I kind of went off on a little tangent there, but that's when I say you wouldn't be blindsided at all if there was a man that was going to be ting you, right? And you, oh, I don't see the signs, but you know what? Before I even get attached and thus get a clouded sense of judgment, before I even get attached and get a clouded sense of judgment, I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to say, listen, we're not building connection until I get a confirmation from Yahuwah. And I'm going to ask Yahuwah specifically. I'm going to ask Yahuwah for specific answers to specific questions. And should I pursue this man, or should I continue with this man? Should I pursue this woman? Should I continue with this woman? And I'm not going to continue until he answers me. But hey, you guys don't want to do that. If the answer to even one of these is no, right? The answer to the questions that were above, then do not pursue this kind of marriage. Israelites, right? Because these are all your questions. We're talking to you. Do not pursue this kind of marriage. Now, the extra considerations of the Israelite woman. Ladies, this is important. My sisters, this is important. This is important. Listen. Different name, different inheritance. Unlike the Israelite man, the Israelite woman takes on the name of her husband. Once married, she is called after his name and bloodline, okay? Your lineage is counted in him. Your children are counted in him. Let me finish. This means that her inheritance in Israel now falls into the lot of the grafted-in stranger. Ezekiel 47:21-23. Ladies, this is very important. In certain ways, this is even more important than if you're an Israelite male when you're considering this kind of relationship. Understand this. Understand this. Yes, he may look good. Yes, he may treat you. He may seemingly treat you nice, right? Yes, he may have some money in his pocketbook. But this, you understand, ladies, where you are concerned, take it up with the Most High. This is not me saying this. This is the Most High. This is Torah. This is the law. This is prophecy. Where the scriptures are concerned, your inheritance switches to the grafted-in stranger. That's if he stays true, right? That's if he stays true to what to being a grafted-in stranger. According to biblical law, her children are no longer bloodline Israelites. I know, but that it is what it is. but counted under the name of their father. Just like if an Israelite man marries a Caucasian or an Indian or a Korean, whatever, that his children are still Israelite because the seed is the lineage is counted from the father. This is why those special case laws concerning priests' daughters or women in circumstances like the daughters of Zelophehad, where Israelite women are prohibited from marrying strangers, exist. This is why, okay? Because your inheritance, if you there, well, first off, with the priest, as you know, there's a bunch of rules and regulations, even for Israelites, bloodline Israelites. Bloodline Israelites don't mess around when it comes to the rules and regulations of the priest because they die. Right? Your bloodline Israelite tries to take something on himself that Yahuwah said, hey, this is for the priest. Hey, only the priest does this, blah, 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 that. They die. So we all know how serious it is with the priest. So understand how much more so for the non-bloodline Israelite. Very important stuff, ladies. You must consider. And again, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you to do it. I'm not telling you not to do it. What I am telling you is to consider. You've got to consider. Okay? Got to consider, because this is the reality. Your children, though they might even be as dark as you, right? They could be as dark as you. They may have kinky, coily, tight hair, right? They are counted under the bloodline of their father, under his house. Okay, so again, seek Yahuwah in prayer. Mixed marriages in the Bible. Oh, you guys thought I wasn't going to give you any examples. You guys thought I was just going to talk smoke and whatnot. You guys didn't know I get the examples? Hold on. Moses and his Cushite wife. Side note, something we seem to forget, and especially when talking about interracial so-called marriage, I see a lot of Israelites, talking about interracial marriage, and from the mindset is always, well, an Israelite marrying a non-Israelite means they're marrying white. That's generally the thought. Sometimes maybe Korean or Asian, I should say, right? We seem to forget that there are black Gentiles. We seem to forget that the black Egyptians, were Gentiles. We seem to forget that the black Canaanites were Gentiles, okay? I'll keep that in mind. And that's why we say the Cushite. Moses and his Cushite wife. Cushite is a Gentile, okay? Cushites are Gentiles. Okay? Black people, Gentiles. Numbers 12:1. And Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses because of the Ethiopian, Cushite, woman whom he had married. For he had married an Ethiopian woman. All right? Though we do not know much about Moses' wife, it is clear from the chapter that Yahuwah placed no fault on him for his marriage, but on his accusers for trying to use it against him. So keep that in mind when some of these Edomite Israelites, as I call them, these Esau Israelites, be trying to get on your case for no other reason than because you married somebody that they don't approve of. Never try to please someone. Never marry someone or try to be with someone to please someone else. Got to throw that in there. All right. There's nowhere do you read that Moses sinned or his marriage was. In fact, what you do read is Yahuwah was like, Moses, I'm going to destroy these people, and I'm going to make a great nation from you and your Cushite wife. I'm going to make a great nation. I'm going to destroy all these Israelites, but from your mixed marriage, I'm going to make a great nation. Okay? Understand that. You will never hear these hardcore Esau Israelites talk about that, and even some less hardcore Israelites that still be trying to use Deuteronomy 7 against you. You will never hear them talk about stuff like that. That Yahuwah, for instance, was going to wipe out all of Israel and restart with a Cushite woman and Moses. Othniel and Asa, which is a one that's not I've never heard talked about, so I'm going to talk about it. Joshua 15 verses 16 through 17. And Caleb said, He that smiteth Kirjath Sepher and taketh it, to him will I give Asa my daughter to wife. Excuse me. And Othniel the son of Kenaz, the brother of Caleb, took it, and he gave him Asa his daughter to wife. Caleb was the son of a Kenizzite, a stranger, and so his daughter would have been counted under that. Yet we see no mention of this union being condemned, and Caleb even gives his daughter extra inheritance. Okay? Right? Caleb was not a bloodline Israelite. Caleb came from, his father was a Kenizzite, okay? And there's some debate about who the Kenizzites were, but suffice it to say, Caleb's dad was a Kenizzite, all right? Boom. Ruth and Boaz, the most famous one. And Israelites, the Edomite Israelites specifically, love to say, no, Ruth was an Israelite. She was an Israelite living in Moab, even though the text clearly so many times says Ruth, the Moabitess. Ruth was a Moabitess. And Naomi says, go back to your own people, Ruth. Go back to your people and your gods. Okay? But they have to twist it and say, she was an Israelite. It makes no sense. Ruth chapter 1, verse 16. Whither thou goest, I will go, and where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, and thy God my God. Ruth was very clearly a Moabite, but her story is essential to the scriptures as she is the great-grandmother of King David. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Her attitude and faith are the standard for any such marriage in Israel. And I don't say that, I say that unapologetically. Her attitude and faith are the standard for any such marriage in Israel. So you grafted in Gentile men, you grafted in Gentile women that are seeking to marry a bloodline Israelite. This has to be your mindset. It has to be, or it's not going to work. Especially as these spiritual times heat up, it won't work. Not unless your mindset is of that. And again, you guys, I'm not trying to be harsh. I'm not trying to hate on people or discourage people. But you have to understand the good, the bad, the ugly. You got to understand the good, the bad, the ugly. Where it's gonna be easier, where it's gonna be hard. You've got to understand this if you're going to pursue this kind of relationship, right? If you're not going to pursue this kind of relationship, then you don't have to worry about some of this stuff, right? But if you are, as some of you are, I know some of the young generation is, and that's okay according to Torah, right? That is okay. Don't let people be online telling you that you're going to hell or that you're breaking Torah, right? It is okay. Study. I got the video for you. Go watch that other video I did, specifically bringing out scriptures and common scriptures that people that say it's forbidden in scripture like to use. I go through those scriptures. But understand what you were getting into. Okay? Again, if you guys are enjoying this, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Tell me if other people are talking about this in such a fashion, right? What you must understand. This is not a decision that someone can make for you, okay? If you are considering it, you must seek Yahuwah's counsel with earnest, patient prayer. Well, we talked about that. And then be willing to heed his answer, because he might say no, right? You might think you found the perfect man, the perfect woman, and you earnestly step back and seek Yahuwah's face, seek his answer, and he's like, nah, fam, nah. Let them go. And then you be, well, but I can change her. Well, but I can change him. No. At that point, you dug your own grave. You must be able to shut out all. How much? All. Some. All. A little bit. All the noise of the voices around you telling you this or that, right? You got to be able to shut it out. You got to be able to shut out the Edomite Israelites that would just say you're a traitor just because you Esau, man, you marry Esau. You got to be able to shut out the white racists that hate you and that will be telling you, don't marry one of them. They're crime ridden. They're this, they're that. You got to be able to shut out the people that are saying, oh, this is great. You should absolutely marry this person. We need to have more marriages like this. You'll have cute mixed babies. You've got to be able to shut out all of those voices. Shut out my voice too. Okay, I'm not telling you what to do. You've got to be able to shut out all of these voices and seek Yahuwah and be able to apply those things that we've discussed and chart your own course. You've got to be able to shut people out, or else you won't make it. You won't make it in a normal marriage, but imagine how much harder it will be in a marriage like this, okay? And I understand, right? Some people will hear this. Again, I'll be able to tell who watched the video all the way through. People will hear this, and then they'll say, Well, you see, you're saying it's so hard. You're saying it's so this, and there's all this to consider. Well, then why would anyone want to do it? Just don't do it. Just marry your own. And I mean, I'm not saying don't do that, right? I'm not saying that you shouldn't marry, quote unquote, your own. I'm not saying that to do that, right? That's man, I'll be able to tell who did or didn't watch. What I am saying is that you got to be able to take all of this into consideration. You've got to understand what you are getting into. Okay, that's what all I'm saying. Not telling you, and society, right? Societal implications. I'm not saying that, hey, well, these people have afflicted us. Yes, they have. I understand that. Well, these people have done this. Well, these people have done that. Yes. So you would still want to be with them? That's not my call to make. That's your call to make. You have to take all of the societal situations into consideration. That's what we're talking about, okay? But don't come to me and say, well, Torah says that it's forbidden. Well, Torah says that you can't do it, because that's not the case. What Torah does say, what Torah does forbid, is there are a bunch of black people, black Gentiles, that he was like, hey, don't marry these black, what we would say, black Gentiles. Don't marry these other black people, right? That's how we would classify them today. Understand that that's not how the Bible and Yahuwah classify people, but that's what we would say today. All right, guys, that's all I got for this one. Thanks for watching. Again, you can if this has blessed you or helped you in any way, I've linked the Cash App below. You guys, you can be a little nice. If you got any questions that you'd like to ask, right, you can email me at israeliteinamerica29@gmail.com. That 29 is important. That's 29, the number 2, the number 9 @gmail.com. israeliteinamerica@gmail.com. If you've got questions that you might want to put in the comment section for whatever reason. But yeah, it's a heavy thing, you guys. It's not forbidden outside of certain specific circumstances, but it's not something that should be taken lightly. And I'll just go ahead and say, I would not recommend it for a lot of people that I can think of, a lot of people that I can see online, for instance, a lot of people that I can see in my day-to-day. I wouldn't recommend it for those people. I got to choose my words carefully here. It's a heavy thing. It is, especially in this world that we're living in right now, in this age that we're living in right now, in this era of tensions being as they are right now. Man, seek Yahuwah. Seek Yahuwah. That's the only thing He is the only thing, the only force that's going to keep you on track. Anyway, this has been the Israelite in America. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.